Hello and welcome back to the channel. Well, today's video is going to be about, well, it's going to be a start of a theme of videos that I'm going to be doing. And the reason for this is I got into a discussion in the comments with a couple of guys a while back about different manufacturers being really known for different types of things, and only those types of things. So for instance, all the J-Star models that I've done have been planes or aircraft, Panlos, it's ships, the odd tank here and there. There are very few manufacturers that do a whole range of things and do them really well. So what I thought I would do is I would try and find some models by some of these manufacturers where they sort of step out of their comfort zone. So the first of those is going to be Sluban. And Sluban, I've done plenty of tanks and armoured personnel carriers and all that type of thing with them, but I've never done a plane. So today I present to you Sluban's take on the F18 Super Hornet. So we're going to run the usual format. We'll do 60 second speed build, we'll show you some pics, and then we'll get into the review. So let's crack on and build. Welcome back. Right, instructions. Nice to have a book back rather than a sheet of paper. This is actually pretty good. I've got no real complaints about this whatsoever. It is bare bones. There's nothing extra at all, but it is pretty good. I should say no real complaints about this whatsoever. You tend to actually, the first probably 2/3 you actually go through really quickly. It's only the last third that sort of, when you are perhaps filling out details, let's go with that, it slows you down a little bit, but otherwise they're pretty good. Now, everything fitted together well. There was no warpage, there was no discoloration. I had one piece missing, however, if I, where is it? So basically, obviously not this particular piece, it's a 2x2 slanted one. Now usually you get these in pairs, one sort of left, one right, and while I did have the right amount of bricks, I had one too many lefts and one less right. So essentially what has happened on this is that, if you can see, hold it there, this part of the wing here, I decided, because I didn't have any spares in this particular colour, funnily enough, ironically, I had another one of these, but I didn't have one that sloped the other way. So I decided that was probably the best place to put it rather than up here or some of the other places. So yes, there was one brick missing technically, but the right amount of bricks were there. And I think it's one of those things, because of it was this particular brick. Actually, I think unless you really are aware it's there, you're not going to notice it on the first look. But that's the way it is. And these are decals, by the way, not stickers, which I was quite surprised about. There aren't a huge amount of them. There's a few identification numbers on there, and I think this is just the one. Yeah, just the one sort of American decal, and a couple on the tailplane there. Now, the overall look of this thing, I think, is pretty good. I mean, this is not a Sembo model by any stretch of the imagination. It's Sembo, certainly from my experience, their modern jet fighters are really top quality. But this is not bad at all. This is a lot better than I thought it was going to be. But there are a few issues, and they're not issues, unfortunately, that you can ignore. There are some really nice points as well, and it's a shame, because this is a model I really want to like. But there's a few big faults that I can't quite get past. Now, one of the things I really like, obviously, is that you got some movable ailerons there. The elevators at the back will move. I really like the way that they have done the engineering source. I think that's actually really effective and really clever, as opposed to just using a cylindrical brick that pushes on. I think that's actually really effective. And another thing I think they've done really well is that it's actually one of the most detailed cockpits that I've done on any plane. There's quite a few decals in there with instrument panels and things like that. There was one issue I found with the canopy, and I did recheck this a couple of times, but I could not make that canopy fit without adding an extra plate in there. Now, it's just a 2x2 black plate. I mean, you could probably get away with a 2x1 black plate, but just to raise that up enough so that it actually makes contact. This doesn't raise or anything like that. So take that as you will. The nose, while it's nowhere near as good as the Sembo models that generally use a single piece or perhaps two pieces of a custom nose, it's certainly better than the rear bricks noses on some of their fast jets that I've done. The F18 Tomcat and the MiG-29 is definitely leagues above them. But on to the problems. Now, these problems generally, I mean, there's two problems. First of all is just hold this right so you can see the fragility, not of the missiles and fuel tanks. You would sort of expect them to be moderately fragile. It's around the engine bays, some of this, because it's at an angle. I'll show you there. I go head on. You see that there's angles like that, and unfortunately that, I think, tends to make these top bits that sort of marry the two plates up. They are a little fragile, and it's very difficult to pick up there, and also here as well. It's rather thin, so if you try and pick it up on either side, you do run the risk of just flicking those off. Now, in some ways, I can forgive that, because some of the nature of some of the designs is inherently going to mean that certain parts are fragile. What I can't forgive is this undercarriage. It's shocking. It's really not fit for purpose, and I have absolutely no clue why Sluban have decided to do what they've done. I've actually ended up moving a couple of these bits here, so I can pull these out. These are on hinges. Now this bit is actually supposed to be there and that bit's supposed to be here. I've changed them around to try and give these rear wheels on the undercarriage a certain amount of help, really, because if you don't put that there, the whole thing just collapses. There is nothing and nothing, absolutely nothing at all on the front wheels. The only way I found to get the front wheels not to collapse is actually to turn them sideways, and that's a fairly basic thing. Now, fine, if you're going to display this on some sort of custom stand in, you know, in flight mode with the undercarriage up, then all well and good to you. But there is nowhere really for any stand to contact and hold securely there. So yeah, I've looked at this 2 or 3 times now, and I don't understand really where they were coming from. I mean, so for instance, they've got these little bits on here. Now they don't go into anything, and because they how they're connected and the way they are, they don't really provide any resilience or strength to the undercarriage. So it does make it quite tricky to display this thing in any way whatsoever. I mean, if I'll get that straight, I'm going to just pop this out and pop this one out, and as soon as that goes down, let's get that straight, it collapses straight away. And yeah, that's really annoying, because I really wanted to like this. As I say, I think the overall design is fantastic. It's very good. The canopy is perhaps a touch too big, but that's, I could be being a bit too picky there. So yeah, as I say, I really wanted to like this. I really wanted Sembo to succeed. It's not, as far as I'm aware anyway, plane's not really one of their strong points. So the fact it was looking so good, and it built the first 2/3 of it, built so well, was great. I was thinking, yes, fantastic. That, you know, they've stepped outside their comfort zone, as far as I'm aware, and they've succeeded. And then that final third, it just all went a bit horribly wrong. It's such a shame, really, because I mean, this cost me $18.71, which is not a bad price for this. As I say, it's not as good as some of the Sembo models, but the Sembo models do concentrate particularly on Chinese aircraft. They do some non-Chinese aircraft, but not many. So it's always nice to have a little bit of competition to choose between, and I thought, well, this could be it, but unfortunately it's not. The last fast jet I did was the J15 by Sembo, and that's a good, you know, good 2 steps up from this, unfortunately, in every area. I mean, the undercarriage on that is very strong, and yeah, it's a bit of a own goal, I'm afraid, by Sluban. I don't think it would take much for a little redesign to get this, you know, as a contender, but at the moment it's not, and it's a shame. As I say, I really wanted to like it. I thought it was a good price. I still think it looks fantastic, but I would, unless you're planning on some sort of custom mounting with this being in flight, I would avoid this at the moment, unfortunately. But it was a good try. It was really close, really close. It was just that final hurdle that they couldn't get past. So there we go. That's the review for the Sluban F18, the Super Hornet. You see, now you turn that sideways, there is a little bit of strength there. But unfortunately, it's a bit too little too late. So, hopefully you've liked this video. If you have, please like and subscribe to the channel. And I'll catch you again. You take care. Bye bye.